Hi guys, good morning. Welcome back to the next video. So basically in this video, we're going to see this problem, Dota2 scene. Firstly, a really big apologies for the inconsistent videos of our bar graph series, but for sure, like it would soon pick up the speed. For now, like it's a too much work. Apart from this, that's the reason the frequency is a bit low, but yeah, it will increase soon. Apart from that, let's look at the problem pretty quickly. It's a pretty easy problem. It's just that okay, you have to get one way that okay, all these kind of problems is solved by using the some kind of this method, and we have to just think of a data structure which can actually implement the same kind of concept. Let's see what I'm going to say. In the world of Dota 2, there are two parties, Radiant and Dire. R and D, I'll just say. The Dota2 Senate consists of senators coming from two parties, which is Party 1 R, Party 2 D. Now the Senate wants to decide on a change in the game. The voting for this change is a round-based procedure. In each round, basically what happens is each Senate can exercise one of the two rights mentioned below. What is the right? Ban one Senate's right, which means if I am standing on a Senate S of a party R, then he can ban any other Senate after him of any other party, maybe his party or maybe the D party. Cool. A senator can make another senator lose all his rights and all the following rounds, which means once like kind of he's banned, completely banned. Cool. Announce the victory, which means if the senators found that the senators who still have the rights, remember, ultimately whosoever is not banned, which means they still have the rights, are of the same party, which means all are R or all are D, right? He can announce the victory and decide on the change in the game. Okay, now the victory will be decided by that. Given a string senate representing each senator's party belonging, the character R and D, as I said, okay, the party of R and party of D represents the R party and the D party. Then if there are n senators, which is the size of the given string, will be n. Okay, round table procedure will start from the first, cool, to the last person, and this procedure will repeat until each round of voting. All the senators who have lost their rights will be skipped during the procedure, which means who have been completely banned will be skipped. Suppose every senator is smart enough, and will play the best strategy for his own party. What they want ultimately is which party will finally announce the victory. To finally announce the victory, we remember that all the members should be of the same party, which means ultimately if I am the senator of party R, I want to announce the victory, then all the members should be, the remaining members should be of the party R itself. If I am smart enough, and see, the one right I have is to actually ban another person. Another right I have to announce the victory. Announcing the victory is limited to the condition that all of them should belong to the one party, which is my party. Announcing a ban is on my hand. What do you think? If I'm smart enough and I want the victory, which means I want all the people of my party to remain, so what I will do? I will always try to ban the person of other party. If I am of R, I'll ban the person of D. If I am of D, I'll ban the person of R. It is entirely because of if I am smart enough and I want to finally announce the victory. And to announce the victory, I need to have all the members of my party. Changes the Dota game. The output should be Radiant or higher depending upon which party wins. Let's see the example RD. So basically I'm standing at R, a person of R party. He has two options. Either he can announce the victory or he can announce, okay, who to ban? Right now all the members are not of his party because D is also here. So for sure Option 2 will come entirely in the end when all the members will be of the same party. But now, right now, R have power. Okay, he will just ban D. Now in the next round, only R remains. He will announce victory. Radiant wins. Same. R, D, D. R standing here. No worries of announcing victory right now. Just think. Okay, R will for sure ban D. Okay, cool. R bans D. Cool. R bans D. This D is gone. It is not. It is no more here. So in the next round, he will have a chance to act. Okay. What he will do is he will ban him. As it is said, it's a round table. It's a round table, right? It is said it's a round table. In the rounds, a senator can make another senator lose all its rights and all the following rounds, right? So basically, in the next round, what happens is this D will actually ban R. Now, ultimately, what happened was this D remains. Ultimately, the party which will have victory is there. That's what you have to do. It's just that you have to implement the same thing, which means what we want is we want the X party, like he wants his party to win. So he will for sure try to ban other party members as soon as possible. It's nothing but greedy. Okay, I'm starting at a location. I'll try to ban my next person of other party. Just ban him. Because ultimately, if I don't ban him right here, let's say if I was standing at R, I had an option. Okay, just ban him. Okay, for one thing I for sure know ki I will always ban D, other party members. I will not ban my own party member for sure. Cool. Then I have an option. I will ban this D or this D. What do you think? Which D should I ban? If I had banned the D right here, then what would have happened? Okay, he would have gone, and my next R would have again banned this D. So entirely my R would have won. But if I would have banned the D right here, then in the next iteration, this D would have banned my right D here. Maybe in the next iteration, again, it will ban this D, but still, you got the point, right? What can worst case happen is, I should try to just ban my next consecutive D opposite parties sign. Cool. You can just replicate with, if it had again a one more D, then what would have happened? But it's just that, okay, I will just try to kill the next party members as soon as possible. Now, okay, we just got to know that if we had R, then we must ban its next closest D. If we have D, we must ban its next closest R. The same process as I replicated in words, just replicate that in code, which means we grab each Senate R, find its next closest Senate D, and ban it. Keep repeating the process, which means we have multiple rounds, right? Until a victory is achieved. Victory is achieved when entire R is gone or entire D is gone. That means all members are remaining of the same party. Now, writing the same thing in code. Grab each Senate R. Have a queue where you have each Senate R. Why queue? Let's see. Find its next closest. Thus, we are using a queue. Because in a queue, the elements are stored in order. In order they are stored. I want to grab, if I just grab this particular D, I want to grab the next D. So I want, okay, next closest. So I can just grab from the front of the queue. That is, I want the next closest. I will just place every element side by side. I will have a queue of R, queue of D. I will place every element of index of Q of D, which means every party member of D side by side, so that I can grab the next closest D as soon as possible. That's the reason I'm just grabbing a Q. Okay, to place the Senate D, I will have another Q for D to place the members of Senate D, and ultimately to ban it, which means, okay, they are no more useful. Which means just remove that from the queue. As simple as that. Keep on repeating, which means until my queue is empty. While loop, simple. Banning of Senate, removing that from the queue. A victory is achieved. when when one queue is empty, which means only one queue is remaining, and that is non-empty queue. Either it can be of R, either it can be of D, whichever is remaining right now will be the person who will actually win. That is the entire thing you have to implement. Let's see the code pretty quickly. It's exactly very easy. Firstly, I have a queue of R and D representing two parties, party R and party D, members of party R, party D. Exactly. Now I just go on entire loop and grab, okay, I will just push in the party R members in my QR and party D members in the QD. If it is R, I'll push in the QR queue, and I'll push in, if it is D, I'll push it in the QD queue. Now comes the interesting part. I need to go on. I'll explain you what's the complexity of this problem, but still, just imagine, just think of the same thing. Okay, what the problem is saying, I have to implement the same thing. I'll just keep on going until my one party is exhausted. And what my party represents, party members are represented by this QR and QD. So until this QR and QD is there, just keep on going. As soon as any one of them is empty, which means the other party has won. If let's say QD becomes empty, so QR has won. If QR becomes empty, so QD has won. Which means ultimately at the end of this loop, I'll explain what the loop is doing, but at the end of this loop, if my QR is remaining, so which means QD is dead, the QD is entirely gone, then I'll just say, okay, it's Radiant who has won. If QD is remaining, then I'll just say, okay, it's D party which is won. That is the thing you have to do. Now comes the while loop. While loop is the most interesting part. What I will do is I'll just grab the front member. Front member, as I say, is okay. If we have R, D, R, R, D, indexes 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. My R queue will have index 1, 3, 4. My D queue will have indexes 2 and 5. So basically, I want to grab this, and whosoever is lowest, maybe D has come or maybe R has come, grab the initial twos R and D, because it is what I want. Grab the initial twos R and D and kill either R or D. Because of R, either D will kill, or because of D, R will kill. Which means if let's say index 0 is here and the D would have been here, so because of D, the R would have killed. So basically grabbing the first two R and D and then killing one of them, which means banning one of them. I just grabbed R's ID, like the R party person ID, D ID, which is the D party person's ID. Basically pop both of them, because both of them are not required at this position right now. One of them will go, which means either here, if the D was here, so he would have killed R. R has gone for sure. The D has also gone. It will come in the end now. You remember what happened? This D was actually being implicated, as you saw above in the example. The D, as soon as it was gone, the example was RDD, right? RDD. Because of this R, the D was gone. Cool. But now this R cannot affect this D right here. So it would come in the end, because it was a round table, as I said. It would just go in the end. End, which means it has, if it is standing at R, the elements are 0, 1, 2. It needs to come at 3, right? As I said, it's a round table. So it just goes this particular index plus number of elements. So I plus n. It is how a round table is designed in an array. If we just want to replicate the round table, we just replicate entirely, put the array side by side. If it is A1, A2, A3, A4, then to get A5, which is actually A1, A2, A3, A4, we just, if its index is 0, 1, 2, 3, then its index is 4, 5, 6, and 7. You see, is 0 plus 4, 1 plus 4, 2 plus 4, and 3 plus 4. To get the round table thing, we just add the index n to actually get the same thing afterwards. It can come. That's the reason. We have to remove both of them. But the next D would come. Where is the example gone? Yeah. The next D would come at the index which is I plus n, because it can't remain here. It will come afterwards. So that next D could actually kill him. That is the reason. We will just remove both of them. We just popped both the members. But if my R is less, so R will kill D, which means my R will still remain. R killed D. R banned D. So R still remain, and it will just be pushed as R of ID plus N for the next round evaluation. And D has gone. While in the vice versa, if our D would have been more, so it would have killed, banned R, R, and then my D plus N would have been gone. That's the reason. Just remember, at every step, one of the members is being banned from this queue. And one member, basically what happens is two members are being gone and one member is being added. So ultimately, in this entire one loop procedure, one member is for sure being banned in this array. Thus, its complexity is O of n, because ultimately we have n elements, n members in this two queues entirely. There are n members, but at every step one member is being banned. So this loop can entirely go up to n times. That is the reason that the time complexity O of n, and space is also O of n, because we are using a queue, and that is pretty much it. So you got what's happening. We just grab two queues just to replicate. Okay, we just have to think of banning because of this initial R. What is the initial D we can ban? Because of what initial D? Because of what initial R I can ban? That is why I used a queue. And then to replicate the round table thing, I just pushed in the next element, which is if R is banning D, then R will actually go on in the end. That is how we do by I, the index of R plus N. It is a very important concept, this round table concept. It's used a lot. So please remember that. And the codes of C++, Java and Python is down below for your reference. Exactly same code. So yeah, that was there. So yeah, that was pretty much it. I hope that you guys liked it. If yes, you know, goodbye, take care.